This is MedTech Hack, and today we'll be covering this simple code practice. I loaded up a circuit project in Tinkercad, and put an Arduino in, and loaded up the text code editor. And I also just copied in the code from our website, the starter code. I'm just gonna expand this. I'm gonna look at this code. This code is pretty simple, but it's missing a key piece, right? So we start off with the array that's defined over here. It shows an array named array, and it has 5 integers based on this number, like based on the variable input here. So 5 integers, and we can see that it starts with 3, and then 1, 2, 5, 4. The idea of this task is to be able to sort any array. So it could be any set of numbers, any length of array, but this is just a starting practice that we can work with, test our code, and go from there. We first start off with the setup function. So we want to first do the serial communication begin, so we can see what our program is doing by outputting the numbers to the serial monitor. Then just as like a small delay before we fill in the missing piece here, which is basically sorting that array. And then hopefully once it's sorted, we'll see a nicely printed out sorted array in our serial monitor with this code basically, which basically loops through each index of this array and prints out each element of it. So right now it'll probably just print out 3, 1, 2, 5, 4, because there's no sorting happening right now, and so it'll just index through each, and we can see that in the code. So let's just print the serial monitor, say start simulation. If you see some things here, you can just X it out, you can read through it. But we can see over here actually in the bottom of the serial monitor that it actually did 3, 1, 2, 5, 4, which is basically what we initialized it to. And so that's what we were expecting, and that's because we didn't sort the array yet. This all happens in the setup function because we want this to only run once. And it's fine if it runs first, as long as it runs once. If we were to put in the void loop function, then this will keep looping again and again and again, and it'll keep showing these numbers again and again, and that's a little bit too much. We don't need to see these numbers again. So we just need to print out at once, and we're good to go. So now we need to figure out how we're going to sort this array. Um, if you're new to coding, the first like method that's probably the easiest for you to implement is something called bubble sort. And so to illustrate that, we're going to go over to the spreadsheet. And so in the spreadsheet, I basically put in the array of numbers. And what we want to figure out is how we're going to sort this systematically, right? And so bubble sort, what it does is that it takes the first two numbers, right? So it takes the first two numbers, and if the first number is greater than the second number, then we're going to swap them. Here, 3 is greater than 1, so we're going to first put in 1 and then 3. And then the rest of the numbers we just place back. So basically, all it did is just swap the two elements in the first pair here. Now we look at the second pair basically, and we do the exact same thing. So 3 is now greater than 2, so we're going to swap those two numbers now. So 1, 2, 3, and then we leave the last ones. So 5, 4. Next, we're going to look at the next two numbers, 3 and 5. Those are correct, right? Like 3 is less than 5, so we can keep it the same way. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. And now we look at the last two numbers. And since 5 is greater than 4, then we swap them. So 1, 2, 3, 5. And lucky enough, this is actually completely sorted now. But typically that's not going to happen. But this is just a nice example to just illustrate like a simple bubbling of how like we kind of bubble the bigger numbers to the right, and we're able to get this nicely sorted array without doing this process again and again. But typically you would need to. So let me illustrate maybe another example. Say it was instead maybe like 5, 4, 1, oh sorry, 1, 2, 3 or something. In this case, when we do this process, we'll say, so 5 is greater than 4, so 4, 5, 3, and then we know that 5 is greater than 1, so 4, 1, 5, 2, 3, and then 5 is now greater than 2, so 4, 1, 2, 5, 3, and then 5 is greater than 3, so 4, 1, 2, 3, 5. And you can see here that like it's still not sorted, but at least it's moving into place to be sorted basically. So, and we also can see how the biggest number is now on the right side, and that's a characteristic of bubble sorting. The last element that you're looking to sort is typically now the biggest number, and you don't have to worry about that. So now, if you don't have to worry about that, then we can just focus on these four numbers. 4 is greater than 1, so we do 1, 4, 2, 3. 4 is greater than 2, so 1, 2, 4, 3. And then 4 is greater than 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now we got the next biggest element here. And so we can just highlight like, so we got this one, and then we got this one. We can see already that now the rest are sorted, but as like the computer who's running our code, it will not probably know that. So we probably will just continue iterating through until we are sure that everything's sorted. So 1 is great. It's less than 2, so we can keep that the same. And 2 is also less than 3, so we can just keep that the same. Sorry. And now we just focus on the last two numbers, and obviously those are sorted. We already know that, so we're good to go. And so this is basically the process of using bubble sort to basically bubble up the bigger numbers to the right and create a sorted array. It is not the most efficient process, but it is a simpler to understand process. So how are we going to implement this, right? So there's kind of three key things that we need to focus on here. One was that we needed to swap two elements, right? So let's stop the simulation. And so we need to first swap like a pair if first integer is greater than second integer, right? So that's the first part. And we need to do this for each element that we're looking at, right? So let's loop this loop, like the loop swapping, I guess swapping across or like set of numbers in question. And then the third part of this process is just like once we like loop through, we repeat the same process but with one less element, right? And so we want to basically keep repeating it, keep repeat process till last pair is sorted. So those are the three key things that we need to focus on here.